evening and welcome to Hockey Night in Australia. I am joined tonight by Sean O'Connor and Northstars Casey Kubara. Welcome, gentlemen. How are you?
Hey, thanks for having me. Good, thanks. How are you?
Thanks, Courtney. It's good to be here.
Look, another exciting week in hockey. A lot happened. I think the most notable is that we did in fact say goodbye to the Brave Cave this weekend. So I'm going to launch straight into that. Casey, how was that being able to be there for that night and be a part of it?
Yeah, it was special. Obviously, a lot of emotions for me and for everybody involved. That club and the organization and the communities, fans, staff, everybody was a massive part of my life for the better part of 10 years. It's a very passionate and loving fan base. So, it's not the best state-of-the-art facility, but it was ours. And, that everybody embraced it for what it was. So to say goodbye was kind of bittersweet. The announcement of the new rink is exciting, and to have a nice facility to go to will be great, whether you're on the home or away team. But yeah, it was obviously holds some special place in our heart, and we have some fond memories there. So it was bittersweet.
I saw a reel that Canberra Brave Socials put out asking all the players what they would miss about the Brave Cave. So I'm curious to know, do you have something that you'll miss about that venue?
Yeah, probably just the atmosphere. Like, it's hard to say the ice or the glass or something like that, but definitely the atmosphere. I think
you're not going to miss the chicken wire.
Most said the chicken wire.
Yeah, getting your face rubbed up against that or getting your jersey caught on it, that was always fun. But we'll definitely miss the atmosphere, the fans and volunteers that make it such a spectacle. And game day was always good fun playing there.
Now, we were talking just before we went live that Tristan, our stats man at Oz Hockey Media, let us know this afternoon that you were, since it became the Brave Cave, you were the highest scoring player in the Brave Cave, and that was with 54 goals, 91 assists, so 145 points total, closely followed by Stephen Blunden and Wahib Daj. How does that feel to sort of leave a little bit of legacy and a little touch of you on that venue and the history?
Yeah, it's cool. I guess a little home field advantage there. Yeah, it's cool, I guess, to leave my mark on wherever I've been. Obviously a pretty special venue, and to say goodbye is sad. And, for what it was worth, I had a great time playing there and wouldn't trade it for the world.
Awesome. I did see before the game on the weekend, you were presented with a photo of yourself and a message. How was that? The Brave showing quite a bit of respect for it.
No, it was cool. It was nice to be honoured and recognised for what I'd done for the club over the years and what they've done for me. From all levels of management and coaches and volunteers and staff, again, like the fans throughout it all. I was there for a long time, and to be recognised for my contributions, shook Geordie Gavin's hand and got a photo there was pretty cool, and a signed photo of me holding the Goodall Cup with a couple comments on there from the boys. So, it was cool.
Awesome. Well, we might throw the results graphic up there, Sean, and we'll just do a quick review over results across the league. So obviously Northstars against Brave, it was such a close game. It felt like just tit for tat. One goal would be scored, and then the next one was it felt like within a minute to 2 minutes, really. So what was that experience, Casey? Just, getting out there with the Northstars, having such a competitive game, and on top of that, being against Bailey.
You still there?
Yeah, Casey, you still there?
I'm still here. Yeah, I think Courtney cut out there for a little bit.
Sorry, so just covering the Brave game against Northstars and how close every goal was, and like tit for tat really with goals back and forth. How was it in that game? Newcastle looked incredibly competitive and playing against Bailey.
Yeah, it was a fun game. I think obviously we're on the wrong side of a loss there, but it was, like you said, it was tit for tat and pretty high-paced game going both ways. It's such a small barn and such a small ice surface that you're really a threat to score from anywhere. I think, you just read off my stats in the Brave Cave. I think it's safe to say they're usually pretty high-scoring games. Anywhere within the ozone, you're kind of a threat to score. lots of traffic in front, and I thought that's what we saw over the weekend. I really thought it could have been
the small ice, Casey.
What's that?
Do you enjoy the small ice?
It has its advantages for sure. I think it's easier to kind of isolate a 2-on-1 and maybe create more scoring opportunities, but also it's a lot more contact and a lot less room to play on the power play. So it has its advantages and disadvantages.
And the other games of the weekend, we saw Perth against Brisbane take home 2 wins. So that's cementing them another 6 points on that ladder. And
no, it was split, Courtney. Brisbane won game 1.
Apologies, I'm reading it backwards. Yeah, split weekend. My apologies. Jumping over to the Adelaide Melbourne Ice game, Saturday was a tough game for the Adrenaline, going down 12-2 and then bouncing back a bit and being a bit stronger on the Sunday. Anything that jumps out about those games to you, Sean?
Yeah, definitely. The Sunday was a different game compared to Saturday for the Adrenaline. They were really competitive on Sunday with the ice. They had a chance to draw level 3-3. Unfortunately, that didn't occur, and they went and conceded a goal very late on. But an open net goal, but empty net. But it was. Yeah, I think Saturday was tough to see for Adelaide fans. So it was good to see them bounce back on the Sunday, even though they still came away with no points from the weekend. And that Perth Brisbane series, that was an intense series in Brisbane. Like they're both hardworking teams, and both games could have gone either way. So a split weekend was probably fair.
I've heard a few.
Sorry, no.
I've heard a few people comment that Brisbane Lightning are a bit of a dark horse this season. So there's a lot of strength there. I think we're going to see a lot of quality hockey out of that organisation.
Yeah, I think so too. I think they've definitely shown that at the start of this year, and it'll be a case of whether they can kick on and make that go through the entire season, because they've always been, so far since they've joined the league, it's been a bit up and down each season. They go through stints of playing really well and then stints where they just lose games constantly. So yeah, it'll be good to see if they can reverse that trend.
Yeah, absolutely. And then of course the second game for you, Casey, and facing the second brother, so going up against Tyler. Look, it was a tough night for North Stars fans, and talking to Captain Liam, he was really feeling that we just haven't been, North Stars haven't been stepping up for the fans and really looking to turn the season around, particularly this coming weekend. So, yeah, how was it playing against your brothers and do you see them on the ice? Do you notice they're there, or you just head down and you get your job done and go on from there?
It's always fun to play against them. Unfortunately, it was 0-2 this weekend against them, so I don't have any bragging rights in the family group chat, that's for sure. But I don't think you kind of notice them as individuals. Obviously, I see a lot more of Bailey just because he plays defense and he's always in front of the goal, cross-checking me, or in the corners giving me a hard time. I see Tyler a lot on the face-offs. But to be honest, you try not to think too much about it. It's more just about getting the win. And, it was a disappointing weekend for us. And, the blowout against the Rhinos. I thought, we were a bit unlucky there. I thought their goaltender played really well, and we got robbed on a few. But at the end of the day, it just wasn't good enough. We're definitely looking to turn things around where there's no panic in our room. We got a good group, and we got some more players coming from overseas. Hopefully should be here this weekend, our 3 additional imports. So, I guess there's no panic at the start of the season. It's still very early on, and it doesn't matter your record in April, May. It depends, what you do June, July, August.
You guys picked up a new overseas Aussie, right? He scored his first goal on the weekend. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Leroy, Liam Ryan is his name. Yeah. He's been a great addition. I think he gives us a bit more depth, and he's a solid boy and will definitely do well for us this year.
That's good. Yeah, I definitely think the result on Sunday was probably not so reflective of the overall play. in the game. Like, I'm pretty sure, did I read right? I haven't watched the whole game yet, but you guys outshot them like almost 2-1.
Yeah, I think
Pretty close.
I think we're close to 50 there. Like I said, their goaltender had a great game and robbed us on a few. And
Yeah,
I think,
right. He can be amazing sometimes. Like, he's very much a hot and cold goaltender, but yeah, when he's hot, he's just so hard to beat.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, he was solid and kind of stole the game for them. But we also made him look good and probably should have needed to bear down in a few situations to get a gritty one. But got to give credit where credit's due. He played really well for them.
Yeah, and touching back onto the game on the Saturday against Canberra, I mean, either team could have won that game. Like, it was so close. It was such a good game to watch on the sidelines. I can't imagine what it was like to actually be on the ice. Now, you were in the away dressing room for the first time in the Brave Cave. How was that experience?
To be honest, I got a little lost when I got back to the rink, just a creature of habit. I was kind of turning the wrong way, and the away locker room, it doesn't have the same vibe, and you're walking out a different path and everything. I adjusted quickly and I felt fine out there at the Brave Cave, even though I was on the other side of things. It was a little
At least
different.
You guys don't have to walk through the men's bathroom anymore.
Yeah, I did hear about that back in the day. And yeah, I mean, it's a little different being there with all those people. And then when we scored a goal, it was crickets, which is something I wasn't used to. Usually you hear a roar when you put the puck in the back of the net for the Brave. So that was a little different, but it was good fun.
Yeah, and the official crowd number for that game was 1,263, which was the second largest ever at the Phillip Ice Skating Centre since the Brave have existed. So they said second ever, period, but yeah, they didn't keep a lot of records when the Knights were playing. So I don't know how big a crowd they might have got at different points. Someone did mention that in 2005, McKinnon was drawing massive crowds to the league. So I don't know if there was a bigger crowd then, but yeah.
That's a great way to say goodbye to the Cave. Like, I think as much as I would have loved to see the North Stars win, it feels like a very emotionally driven win for the Brave to get that in that last game. So
yeah, and Matt Harvey scored again. Like, that guy comes out of retirement all the time and just bangs them in.
Man, when's that guy going to retire? He keeps telling everyone he's retired, and then here he is scoring another goal. Wombat.
Yeah, and my understanding is that he's probably going to be back again for one of the games against Adelaide as the AIS. Get that experience.
Look, why not? Going into a massive rink like that, I'd probably volunteer to play a game too.
He's got to look for 2 points, right, to get to his 150.
Oh, is
then
he that
he
close?
can properly put up the skates. So we have a comment here from Russell over in the UK. Crazy weekend on the scoreboard overall. Cracking series in Brisbane and a suitably exciting farewell to the Brave Cave. Love to all of us. That's great. Thanks for that, Anthony. So,
now, do you have the milestones graphic there, Sean? Because we touched on obviously Oberoi having an incredible Sunday, and one of our milestones was Ishida for the Ice hitting 1,000 saves, and Dornbos hitting 2,000 saves. Like, that's a phenomenal effort. That's a lot of games in the AIHL. So I think look, that's a lot of shots on for Ishida as well. I think his first season was last year, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so
yeah, it kind of shows you the hockey that the Melbourne Ice play, right? They're definitely a team that loves to outscore the opposition, not necessarily get those shutouts. Although saying that, Ishida's got 3 shutouts already in his Melbourne Ice career. That's like, second tier away from Kimlin at the top there. I think the top is 5, so it's not. We don't get many of them here.
And it's nice to see Matt Caruana hitting a milestone. He's quite a staple for Melbourne now, and a name that many are familiar with. So look, congrats to everyone hitting milestones. That's all very exciting.
Yeah, there is someone I have missed off this that I didn't realize I had missed, which was Matt Harvey. Technically hit his 50 goals as well on the weekend.
Hey.
So, he's too shy for his 150 points, but he's got to 50 goals. So well done, Matt, as well.
And so we might throw over to the standings and just take a quick look at that.
Yeah.
So with successful with their split weekend, the Perth Thunder remaining on the top of the ladder. But I think the most noticeable change is Ice and Mustangs have switched, with Melbourne Ice jumping up within a point of Thunder, Mustangs on 11, Lightning on 10. So look, the top four are not far, and they're not out of reach of the fifth 5 to 8. So like as Casey said earlier, we're still very early in the season and there's a lot of hockey to go. So I think we're just going to see a lot of movement in that. I think at least until August, that's when everything gets nitty gritty and tight and really interesting. So I think too, once we know what finals format looks like, that too will start to make these standings have a bit more meaning. People get a bit more attached to them. So any thoughts?
Stop showing things from the top half and bottom half of the table. We can start looking at qualifications. But everything's pretty much wide open at the moment. You still got the adrenaline trying to catch up, since they didn't really start the season until very late. So they're still trying to gel, and they've still got players coming through, as a lot of teams do. The Mustangs are looking very strong, although they had the week off. I mean, 11 points from 4 games. Yeah, they're doing real well. Timmins is on fire yet again, as normal. And then, in the middle, it's really close. Like the Lightning, Brave, Rhinos, and North Stars are really fighting it out there. So, it'd be interesting to see how things progress.
Very much so.
What about you, Casey? Is there any surprises so far from your perspective?
I'd like to see North Stars a little bit higher, that's for sure. Other than that, I mean, it's hard to tell. Like I said, it's there's a lot of moving parts on every roster at the start of the season, so I do expect that to change quite a lot. Mustangs there haven't dropped a game yet. So they're obviously going to be pretty competitive, and I know they signed another pretty big player, a high caliber player who's got a lot of experience. So, I think it's a good league this year. There's obviously missing the 2 Sydney teams, but it's kind of strengthened a lot of rosters. So we're playing competitive hockey. It should be fun.
Yeah, and your roster too. I mean, you both got Brian Funes and Reiser in your team. That they're 2 very experienced D-men. So. How's it having and playing alongside these old school Bears players?
Yeah, it was weird for me putting on a North Stars jersey, and I'm sure it was the same for them. Long-time Sydney Bears players, they've been great for us. I think solid on the back end, and definitely bring some wealth and a wealth of knowledge and kind of a veteran status. So they step up in moments when they need to. So. Excited to kind of finish out the rest of the season with them.
And of course, you also played with Funsey over at Worlds, as well as your brother. How was that experience this year?
Yeah, Worlds it's always a good time to go away, and it's an honour to wear the kangaroo and put on the green and gold. We didn't get the results that we wanted, and we kind of had to battle through a lot of stuff, but we had a great team and a good bunch of guys that really battled through, and at the end of the day we didn't get relegated and we won our last game, so
it was exciting.
And we got another crack at the same.
It was exciting. Okay, Courtney.
When we spoke with Jamie Woodman of Perth, we asked him what a highlight for him was in playing for Australia, and he commented about scoring a goal, and that was something you did for Australia this tournament. Do you remember the goal and just how it felt, and just tell us just how satisfying that is to score in green and gold?
I mean it's awesome, and it's nice to get one on the board. I think it might have been against Netherlands. Actually, yeah, it was. And I think Cam Todd snapped back the puck off a face-off, and I just kind of floated one through on the power play, and it was a good double screen, and it somehow found the back of the net. I think it took us up 1-0, but we ended up losing the game. So I think
it's surprised the Netherlands
score if you lose the game.
Yeah, I think the Dutch were quite surprised when you guys went up.
Yeah, it's I mean, sometimes that's how you squeak out a win. You got to steal one, and you put a couple early on the board, and then they got to change their game plan and come at you, and you can kind of get pucks out and get pucks in, and hopefully hold on to a lead. It didn't happen, but we'll see how we go next year.
Yeah, the Winnipeg Jets also need to learn this as well.
So I think from here, Sean, we jump into your predictions.
Yeah, we can go predictions. So let's go scoring leaders first.
Yes, I knew I was forgetting something.
So scoring leaders after round 4, we've got McNally up in top now. He's moved up onto 20 points. We've got Hikasaka's now moved back into number 2 on 19. And we see the first sign of a Melbourne Ice player, Schindel, in 3rd on 18. And then Timmins and Wishart rounded out. Now, Schindel is a player I find very interesting because he didn't really have an announcement from the Melbourne Ice. He kind of just appeared in pre-season and then was on their roster and has really sort of done really well at the start of this season. Do you guys have any thoughts about the early scorers, top scorers?
Look, I'm not surprised Hikasaka has found his way back into that top tally, particularly that first game in the first round, scoring 5. So yeah, I think
he also scored 4 against Canberra in the second weekend too.
Pretty sure in the predictions last week, I said Hikasaka would get a few goals, so he proved me right. He's back up in that top list. But yeah, I think very much we'll see a lot of Timmins and Wishart in this list, and hopefully Casey might make his way up into these numbers.
Yeah, got to start finding the back of the net.
Yeah, I remember. Was it 2022, Casey? You were top of the pops when it came to the scoring charts.
It could have been, yeah. Yeah, I might have been. Was that
you and Wahid Daj were 1 and 2 that season? I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I think me and Daji, and I think our line mate Mario Chibuko was up there that year too.
Yeah, that was a good year. But yeah, I mean, you've done quite well to start with. I think it's already 9 points from your first. Was it 5 games?
That could something be right. Yeah, something like that.
It's a pretty good start to a new team in a new season. So yeah, soon enough you'll be up there.
Yeah, I mean, less about individual points. I'd rather get the team points and the team wins. So hopefully we can turn that around and start getting some W's on the board.
Yeah, totally. All right, so prediction time. So we'll move into round 4. So interesting about round 4 is we like to do these predictions first. I can get this now. That's not the one I want. That's the one I want. So they're just little off the cuff things. So we'll start with our first one, which is our biggest good surprise. So, what do we think, guys? Courtney, what is your biggest good surprise for this round coming? What do you think is going to be a bit of an interesting thing to happen that you wouldn't expect?
I'm going to look. Not that I don't expect it. I'm fully expect. I think Sunday's going to be a great game for Newcastle. I think we're at home and it's an opportunity. Like Adelaide's on the road. They're going to have a game on Saturday. Then they come up to here. I think that will be. I think this is the scoreline. I think will be the surprise. I think we'll have a nice big one. A few points for Casey.
And Casey, what do you think? If you want, I can bring up the fixture list if that makes it easier too.
Yeah, maybe bring it up. I like what Courtney said. That sounds good to me.
So we got our first Melbourne derby this weekend, well tomorrow, and then we've got both Newcastle and the Central Coast playing at home, and then we've got more games with the Brave down in Melbourne.
Yeah, I think maybe Mustangs might see their first loss this weekend against Melbourne Ice or Canberra Brave. One of them might be able to top them. And yeah, like Courtney said, I think Northstars see their first W this weekend.
Yeah, I think that's probably a good call. I'm going to predict mine is going to be that Adelaide beats the Rhinos. on Saturday. That's going to be my big good surprise. Adelaide needs some good story lines going, and I think they could cause an upset on the road, because I think this is the first time they've been on the road all season. So
yeah.
All right, now we'll go into the goal horn breaker. So this is basically who's gonna score the most goals this weekend. Can be a team, can be a player. Courtney, what do you think?
I mean, Perth's not playing, so my go-to is like literally Yuhiko Saka. He's my go-to for this answer. Look, I am going to say, look, how can I not say North Stars? I feel like we're gonna just see a bit more gelling, a bit more of the team coming together, and maybe some Kubara Daj 1-2s, make a bit more of that magic happening if you're out there at the same time.
Yeah,
I'm just giving you all the good vibes, Casey. All the good vibes.
Yeah, I like it. I can't disagree with you. Hopefully, we can get the ball rolling this weekend. It sounds good to me. Hopefully, a big one on Sunday.
Look, to back that up too, maybe a couple from Matt Harvey. That would be pretty cool if he's traveling.
Well, I had a chat with Matt Harvey before. He is more interested in trying to get some assists, but I don't think he'll be traveling this weekend. I think, we'll probably see, just the regular team traveling rather than the emergency call up in Matt Harvey. But it would be a tough weekend for the Brave on the road down there. My prediction for high scorer, I'm going to go Schindel. I think he's going to score a bunch this weekend. So it'll be really interesting to see. And our third one, all right. So who do we think is going to concede the least this weekend? It can be a team, a tender, a blue line team, whatever. Courtney?
I'm going to jump straight in. I think Obro is just going to put on another show. He stands on his head week in and week out. He showed us what he was made of last year, and he's already showing that again this year. So I think Adelaide are in with a good shot, but also they've got to get around Oberoi. That's tough. So, yeah.
Makes sense. And Casey? Yeah, hard not to say the North Stars. I think we kind of buckle down this weekend, and whoever's in net shuts the door. I think hopefully it's a lopsided game for us, and we really want to get the ball rolling and start generating some offense, but also playing shutdown defense and solid goaltending. So I'm going to say North Stars. Yeah, that's probably a good call. I'm also going to say North Stars for this weekend. I really think that they're overdue for a big win, and I think it's going to come from the blue line and work its way forward. I think you guys are going to have a great game. And that's our predictions for this weekend. We've got a whole great group of games, 5 games on, so it should be a lot of fun. No games in Canberra. We've got games in Melbourne and New South Wales, basically. I'm
excited for our first derby. So our first Friday night derby happening, and Ice vs Mustangs. They're both strong teams, and there's a bit more spread timing with the games as well. It'll be a lot easier to jump from game to game and see a lot more if you're watching on the stream.
Yeah, and I saw yesterday they actually had a segment on the radio down in Melbourne for the derby as well, which is exciting to see. It's exciting to see the league get some more mainstream coverage going. So hopefully that will continue. And I'm hoping for a great series overall for everyone. So hopefully the fans get out and pack the barns.
So Casey, we'll talk to you a bit more now. We'll move on from our weekend that will be. You mentioned a bit earlier just the calmness that's in the North Stars room. So I'd love to talk about that and just sort of going from the World's Room where you had Fienzi and you had Horsey and you had Bo. And so what is it? What are you working on sort of in that room together to boost morale, lift each other up, and like as an alternate captain in nationals too, like can we have a bit of insight into what you're doing to help just prop the team up when, as you mentioned, a bit of adversity you had to fight through a lot in that campaign?
Yeah, I think, it's always important to have a good locker room when you're overseas. We spoke at length about, this is the group we have. It's, I think it was 22 skaters and the staff and management that are with us. And when you head overseas, it's us against the world. You just got to bring it your all every day. And I thought our staff and the veterans did a really good job of making sure everybody was prepared to give their best every day. So I guess as someone who's been on the team for a while and was wearing a letter, I try to just, you try not to instill fear or nervousness into the group. I think we had a lot of first years, but you basically just try and say, look, we know what we have to do. We've trained hard through training camp. We know what we're up against. We've scouted film and we know what they have to offer. So let's just go out there and get the job done. Whether it's
is there any team you like to play?
It was good playing Israel because we beat them. So you could say that.
Because you guys get to verse the same sort of teams by and large most years. So
one team always comes up and one team comes down from the division above. So, it's nice winning games, right? But it's also a good learning experience to verse a team like the Netherlands who, they got some legitimate players. They got draft picks. They got guys that are playing pretty high pro careers. So it's kind of cool to verse them and to come up against that and size yourself up on the ice and see what kind of damage you can do.
And as you said, you're also part of the leadership team. You were part of the leadership team in Canberra for a long time. Do you enjoy having that leadership role on the ice?
Yeah, I think it's nice to be recognised and I guess someone that the boys can look up to and go to if they need to, if they have a question or if they want to kind of have a sounding board and they don't want to ask the coach or management. I don't think it changes too much for me personally or individually. I play the same way whether I have a letter or not. But I guess it's kind of just something that you earn over time. And I guess throughout my career in the AIHL, the coaches have, decided to give me a letter or not. And I just keep playing the same way day in, day out.
And just bringing into the North Stars change room. So there's a few guys you got to get a bit of extra time with during nationals that are now in that room. Just talk to us about sorry. Just what are you working on as a unit in the North Stars to, ahead of this weekend and really hoping to see just click and change a little bit?
Yeah, look, I think I've been around the league long enough and a lot of guys we have a lot of veterans in that North Stars room. So like I said, there's no panic in our room and going away with Bo and Horsey and Fienzi, you face adversity everywhere you go. There was a lot of ice time for us. We kind of get to understand each other's habits a little bit more. It's one thing to play against them every year for the last 8 years I've been in the league. But it's nice to play with them and understand their tendencies and what they like to do on a breakout or where they like to, cycle in the ozone. So you start to just kind of develop that chemistry, even with a defenseman. I played with Darji for a long time in Canberra, so it's good to kind of have him back on my wing and start to kind of generate that chemistry again. I think
that was actually a question that Matt Harvey asked. What's it like playing with Darji again?
It's good. You forget how good it was, how good we had it. It's nice to have him back on my wing. I think we obviously developed a bit of chemistry when we were in Canberra and, we're starting to find our feet and develop that again here in Newcastle. I know a lot about what he does and he knows a lot about what I do. So I think we find each other pretty easily out there.
Yes, hockey is very much a chemistry sport. It makes a big difference.
Now, you had a few questions from Casey's brothers, Sean. Let's throw
I
them
did. Now, I don't know how much of these are going to be inside jokes as well. So Tyler asks, "Are you sure you're right-handed?"
Oh, honestly, like I haven't been scoring too many goals, so maybe a lot of guys try changing their tape job or changing their flex or something. Maybe I need to try the other hand. Maybe I'll go lefty this weekend.
And then Bailey asks, "Why do you think your mum has not bought a North Stars jersey yet?"
Oh, yeah, good question. I don't know. We'll have to ask mum in person. Yeah.
I must admit, it is strange seeing you put on a North Stars jersey after 10 years or whatever it was with the Brave. It is definitely a different jersey.
Yeah, to be honest, it felt weird for me putting it on for the first time. The red helmet and the red gloves and the red pants too. It's a different experience. I feel comfortable now, but it was definitely an adjustment at first.
Yeah, and I mean the barn up in Newcastle is quite different to Canberra as well. It looks quite professional these days with you got the second story now on the mezzanine level and everything, and it looks quite cool.
Yeah, honestly, it's a great place to play, and I think it's kind of highly regarded across the country. Up there with the likes of Melbourne, good facility. Obviously the seating is nice, and having the jumbotron there to explain the rules, I think a lot of fans get a good kick out of that.
Yeah, that was a great addition when they put that in. And then I've got questions from Eric Balner as well. So how and when do you work on your craft outside of training, given work commitments and all? You'd have all that as well.
Yeah, it's a good question. Obviously, hockey's not a full-time job here, and we don't have the luxury of being in America or Canada or Europe, where the ice is very accessible, and you can go and get on the ice and work on your craft all day, every day. I was fortunate enough to spend a bit of time in the States, and I was skating once or sometimes twice a day over there. It's not quite the same here, so I think growing up with brothers, Toby, Tyler, Bailey, we were shooting pucks in the driveway. Nowadays, with a full-time job and other commitments outside of work, and I try to stay active in the gym, whether it's working out or I'll go and skate of an early morning, just trying to get reps in maybe before or after practice on a Tuesday or Thursday night if we have extra ice time. Other than that, I think you try and stay fit, but we don't have the luxury of unlimited ice time, so you really got to use those 2 training sessions a week to try and get the most out of it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and so you played overseas in America in juniors as well as college.
Yeah.
How was that experience, and would you recommend that for other Aussie juniors?
Yeah, I mean, I loved it. I had a blast. I think if you have the opportunity to go over to wherever it might be, I spent almost 8 years in America. I know a lot of guys. Bailey went to Canada for a year. I know some guys have gone to Europe and played seasons in Sweden or Finland. If you kind of want to develop your game and you want to take it to the next level, I think heading overseas to get the ice time is probably the biggest thing. You really need to get your reps in, especially at a younger age. I went over there when I was 18, where I'd kind of almost missed the boat in terms of a developmental stage. You see why they're so good at a world stage. The Canadians and Americans, they're skating all day, every day since they could walk pretty much. So I loved it over there. I had a blast. I played in Atlanta and Pittsburgh and Philadelphia, and then 4 years at college in New York. And it was so much fun. Highly recommend.
Yeah, is the NCAA as hard as it appears to be?
Yeah, I played D3 hockey, and it was some of the hardest hockey that I've played. It's fast, it's physical. The guys are just bigger, stronger. It's a bit of a meat market over there, so there's healthy scratches. And if you don't perform, or if you don't play well one game, then somebody's kind of nipping at your heels to try and take your spot. Which it's a good and a bad thing. It pushes everyone to be better, and it elevates you to the next level. Also, it's a little bit stressful and nerve-wracking at times, but it's definitely good hockey over there. It's just a North American game, very kind of north-south. It's run and gun. So you definitely get your bumps and bruises over there.
Yeah, and what would you recommend for kids wanting to improve their craft? Like, what should they work on most?
Oh, for me, it's skating. I think the best players in the world are usually the best skaters in the world. If you look at the NHL, you got McDavid, you got Nathan McKinnon. These guys are just so fast and so explosive on their skates. You look at even on the back end, you got Quinn Hughes, Cale McCarr, guys in the playoffs now. You got like Miro Heiskanen, he just came back, like such an incredible skater. I really think you don't need the best hands or the best shot in the world. If you skate well, and I think it's pretty easy to dominate, especially in Australia. There's a huge advantage to being able to skate well.
Yeah, and I guess that comes from the fact that we don't have that much ice time, so people aren't on their skates as often here. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean it translates. Like, you got to be strong on your edges. You got to be able to transition quick. Skating's by far the most important part of the game.
We had a great question from Andrew McDougall pop up on Facebook. So just rewinding a little bit to talking about nationals and the teams you competed. Are there any players that you played against that you think could come and play in the AIHL?
From the teams overseas?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's plenty. There's some really skilled players over there. I think we saw the Netherlands. Like I said, they got draft picks and some pretty talented players that are playing professional hockey. They could come over and play at an import level easily.
That would be cool to see.
I think there's some really talented players over there, and I think you see that. The teams that we struggled against were just bigger, stronger, faster. I think they're well-oiled machines. It doesn't help that we're kind of at the very start of our season and we're all kind of trying to get in shape, whereas we go against these European teams that are all in mid-season form, been playing together for however many months already.
Yeah, I do think that that's something which disadvantages our teams quite a bit. The fact that we're always either in preseason or at the very start of a season, and they're all well and truly into the groove.
Yeah, you got to get your skating legs under you, but I guess it's something we've had to deal with since day one. So for me, it's not an excuse anymore. You just got to find a way to battle through it.
Do you find the Trans-Tasman to be a useful exercise in preparing for Worlds?
For sure, yeah, no doubt. It's nice to play 3 games, and there's only so much you can do in the gym and off the ice to work on your craft. I think, like I said, the biggest thing is skating and having that ice time. So playing games and getting kind of game fit and game ready is a huge advantage in the Trans-Tasman.
And do you have a specific sort of off-season routine that you go through?
Kind of. It's changed over the years. Obviously, I was going to and from the States, so I didn't really have an off season for 8 years there. I was playing hockey all year round. Nowadays, it's a little different. I try to almost disconnect from hockey a little bit. I'll still get on the ice and skate and play men's league, or get on the ice for an early skate and get a sweat in. But I try to enjoy my summer, spend time with family and friends, and get to the beach a fair bit, play a bit of golf. We don't really have a whole lot of spare time during the season. You train or work out most nights, and you go on almost every weekend. So try to enjoy my time off while I can.
Yeah, nice. Have you got any plans to head overseas in some of the off seasons coming up? Especially now that you've got your Polish passport?
Yeah, I mean, I'll never say no. It would be awesome to, maybe go and play in Poland or something as a local. Would be pretty cool.
I think Bailey's done that, right?
Yeah, Bailey played there. I don't think he had his passport at the time, but he played there as an import in one of the Polish leagues, and I think he had a good time. He enjoyed it, and it's pretty good hockey over there. So, I guess I'll never say no. If something popped up, I'd definitely consider it. For now, I'm kind of, I'm setting my roots in and planting my feet firmly on the ground. I've got a mortgage now, so
it's always a big thing.
Yeah, life definitely gets in the way of your hobbies.
Yep.
So we do have another question from Andrew. Are you a little bit dirty that they moved to the AIS arena after you left? Obviously speaking about Canberra here.
No, look, I mean, I'm excited, to be honest. It's It's huge, and I think it's been a long time coming. I was there when we announced the new rink. I think probably 5 years ago in Canberra. I was there. We cut the red tape on the ground that was supposed to be built. Unfortunately, I'm no longer there, and we never saw the building blocks of that new rink. So I wouldn't say I'm dirty. I'm excited to go back and see it.
You get to play in it, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think we play there. We play Brave in Canberra one more time, maybe.
I think so.
Yeah, so hopefully I'll get to see it, and yeah, it should be a nice facility.
I'm having a quick look at the schedule. Give me 1 sec. We will be Northstars are down there on the 10th of August, so a little bit of time to wait. But 10th of August, we will be at the AIS.
Yeah, it's a big game. It's towards the end of the season, so it'll be a good test for us and exciting to play in that rink. So something to look forward to on the calendar.
Yeah, who knows? Finals could be on the line for everyone.
There we go.
It should be fun. I think it'll be a real different experience for everyone in the league. I mean, not just Canberra, but every team that comes and plays there. I do feel a bit for Perth who miss out because they played both their away games at the Brave Cave. But they also got to experience the Phillip before the move. So yeah, it should be fun. And I think they will pull good crowds. It'll be a lot of. It'll be really interesting to see that kind of North American style sort of, people on all sides, because we don't really get that elsewhere in Australia. Like even Melbourne. Like Melbourne's such a nice facility, but everyone's sort of on one side.
Long-time friend of the pod, Andrew McDougall, said he'll be there in July, so I imagine that will be the Canberra Brave versus Melbourne Mustangs game.
I imagine so. It will be a lot of fun. But yeah. That's
been insightful and wonderful, Casey. Thank you so much for joining us. So I'll throw to Sean for any last thoughts.
No, I'm looking forward to seeing how you go this season, Casey. I'm wishing you all the best with the North Stars. I am repping the North Stars tonight. Thanks, Courtney, for the scarf. Yeah, it should be a good season, and I think you guys are just building up. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me, and thanks for all you're doing for the sport. It's good to kind of get the recognition and get the media going and a bit of excitement around the league and around the nation. So, yeah, thanks for having me. It's been great.
I do feel like it's building, though. I think there seems to be more attention being put onto the league than it's had for a long time.
I mean, when our Prime Minister doesn't know it exists, it'd be nice if he gets involved.
Yeah, maybe sharpen up on that one elbow.
How crazy is it that the Prime Minister was asked a question about ice hockey in Australia, though?
Yeah.
Who would have thought that would have ever happened before? So there you go.
Well, thank you again, Casey. It's been a real treat to have you as our guest tonight. And wishing you the very best for the weekend. And I will see you in Newcastle on Sunday.
You will. All right. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Casey. Thanks, Courtney.